Loaded and gone.
That's the quickest way to get one. We're gonna hit it with the live wire. The Blue Angels are practicing today. What's doing? Just chug, 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 chug. Hey, so this isn't your typical will it run. This thing ain't been off the road for 35 years. It's not had some unknown life. This is the sort of thing that you can find on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or down at the Peanut Hut for sale for $1,500, $2,000. You get it bought, you bring it to the house, and you get it going. So with that in mind, don't come after me in the comments. Hey, welcome back to Forsaken Steel. So this is a little different today. We're not working on GM stuff. We're going to be working on a Ford truck, maybe. So we're going to look at a friend of a friend's Ford truck that they're trying to get running again. They say it's been off the road for a year. I don't know anything about it, but they said they needed it running so they could sell it. So I thought I'd take y'all along with me. Maybe this is interesting, maybe it's not, but we're going to go look at this truck nonetheless. Well, here she is, 76 F-150 Ranger. It's got a little rot in the bed. Still got all the original caps though. Somebody's replaced the seat cover. It's super nice. Door panels look good. Got some of that speed tape on the dash. Not a bad looking truck for the year. A little bit of rot bottom of the doors. That ain't terrible. You can tell she's been sitting though. So I talked to the gentleman that owned it. He said it was running, started coughing under load, like it was starving for fuel. I don't know if the fuel pump's bad. It's got an Edelbrock carburetor on it. There's a good chance that it needs to be rebuilt or replaced. Check that out. It does have the Ford Duraspark, so that also could be bad. But actually, it doesn't look terribly old. But everything looks pretty good under here, really. I noticed AC truck still hooked up. Somebody disconnected the heater core. That's no big deal. He said he put a battery in it a year or so ago, so we should be good there. We'll throw that on the charge when we get back to the place. Grill and bumper looks pretty nice, but hood, she's a little crusty. Got a little weight reduction. But he has another hood for it, and he's going to sell this thing. He's just trying to get it up and running. So I'm going to help him get it up and running and get it for sale. It's got a white top on this baby blue. God, I love it. Got a little more weight reduction back here. But I'm going to have him pull it to the house, and we'll see if we can't get this thing running and back on the road for him. Me and Mike out here this morning picking this Ford up. We're gonna drag it to the house. I'll see if we can get it running. We loaded up, headed out. What did that take? 10 minutes, Mike?
Loaded and gone.
That's the quickest way to get one. And we made it back. Mike's dumping her off. We'll get her here in front of the garage door and get to work in a couple of days. What you got? Well, we're back on this Ford. I'm sure I went over this already, but it's a 76, I believe is what I was told. I'm not a Ford guy. I don't have anything against Ford. They're just not my thing. So as long as you know basic mechanics, you can fix most things. We may struggle, but we'll see. So anyways, here's the story that I got on it. The truck has sat for just over a year, as best I could tell. The tags are expired on it. They got me some new tags. They've got insurance on it, so we can take this thing out and drive it once we get it running. But the guy said when he would drive it, when you go to pull up a hill, it'd just go chug, 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 and then it'd die. So he parked it because it was unreliable, which makes sense. First thing that popped in my mind was this thing's running out of fuel. I thought we'd check the dipstick for the oil and see if the oil smells like fuel, because if the diaphragm in the fuel pump's bad. By the way, if you hear all this noise, they're working next door. We just got to work too. They're building a house. We're just fixing old junk vehicles. But anyways, so I thought, you know, fuel pump might be going bad. The diaphragm in it's letting the fuel pass through into the block. It's not uncommon. That's a good way to lose all your bearings in your vehicle. But I thought we'd check the oil right quick and see if it smells like fuel. If it does, we might be on something there. Fuel filter in this thing, I'm not sure if you could tell, it's right there, is nasty, nasty, nasty. I have bought a fuel filter for it. I thought we'd throw that on. Maybe crank it over, see what happens. If we can get it to start. Fuel filter may just be plugged. I don't know. They're wanting to sell this thing, so they don't want to put any more money in it than they have to. They just want it running good enough so somebody can test drive it and whatever and take it over as a project for them. But they want it running so they can hear it, you know, run and the transmission works and all that sort of stuff. So we ain't gonna do a whole lot to this old girl. But with that being said, let's get after it and check the oil. Alright, so let's get in here. Pull this dipstick. It smells like gas just a little bit. Nothing crazy though. I don't think that's it. So let's get the dipstick back in. Holy moly. Really? There we go. Also, I love a nice greasy motor. We've been on it 5 minutes. I'm already nasty. Well, I can already tell you it looks like it's at the wrong size fuel filter on it for the hose. That's 3/8 hose, but it's a 5/16 filter. There's no way that was following very much fuel. Look how nasty that is. Absolutely disgusting. So I poured a little of that fuel out of there. It smells fine. It's not, doesn't smell putrefied or anything. I mean, it's only been sitting for a year, so it shouldn't be terrible. But, here. Let's see if we can, I'm going to pour some out on this rag. Look at that. That's just what I poured out of it. It's awful. So, let me get the other one in there. And that's a good place to start. Thought I'd show you all the voltage on this battery. 1247, that's perfect. Thought we ought to take this air cleaner off and just take a look down inside that carb and just kind of see what it looks like. But of course, what it looks like really don't matter. It's how it performs. And if we have to get into it, we will. But I priced a carb. Holy moly! It's been on there for a while. You can tell how dark that is. We'll see. Does she still move? Yeah. Get you in here and let you take a look. So I think I'm going to get some fuel, fill the bowls, and see if we can get this thing to pop off or not. I wonder if we can get it to turn over. I mean, he was just driving it a year ago. It should be fine. We'll reach down here and see if I can get this fan to turn. Then I get the water pump to turn, but it's just slipping. I can't get enough pressure on it. We'll just give it a shot and see what happens. So I ain't fancy. I don't have any of those hot sauce bottles. I got some live wire, so we're gonna hit it with the live wire. Drill a hole in the top of that. See if we can fill the bowls up without, you know, drowning the entire motor with it. So I think it's got a vent on either side right here. So we're going to try to fill it up, see how it does. If you wonder how much it takes, I don't know. Some. Probably not much on that side. And we'll go ahead and give her a shot down the throat. Hook this battery back up now. You should always check your cables and make sure your hot's going where it's supposed to be and your ground's going where it's supposed to. Alright. Let's give her a whirl and see what happens. Look at that, she's sitting there idling. But she looks, she's definitely dripping fuel. And I don't think that fuel pump's working. Look at this. I mean, it's idling, but hey, it's just, I want to put a bit of fuel line on it, but there's no fuel in that. I don't know. I guess it's just running off what I had in those bowls. I'm gonna cut it off and we'll see if we can find a fuel pump for it. Listen to her though, she don't sound bad. Look at all this rust that blew out of the exhaust. That's what that was. You can see it right there. But anyways, just thought I'd show you that. It's quite a bit of rust. Blew it way out over there even. So I got to thinking, I wonder if this thing's about out of gas. I messaged the owner and I asked him, the fuel gauge work? And he said, I don't know, it's been a year, but I think so. Let me show you how much fuel it's got in it if it does work. All right, currently I have the key off. It's at nothing. Key on. Yeah, still nothing. So I've got a little bit of fuel in a can here I'm going to put in it. We're going to get some more fuel to put in it. I'm also going to get some fuel hose for it and put that on before I change the pump. We'll do that and just see if that fixes that issue. All right, see how much fuel it says it's got in it? The ignition switch is off. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. See how it doesn't move? So if that fuel gauge works, we have 0 fuel. That could mean that somebody relieved him of his fuel, or maybe he ran it out of fuel. I don't know. Possibly partially evaporated. I'm going to give y'all the hack tip of the day. You ready for the hack tip of the day? If you have an old vehicle, do not let it run out of fuel, because you will pick up all the garbage off the bottom of that tank and run it through into the carburetor or whatever, possibly this time into that fuel filter. That would explain why it looks so bad if he ran it really, really low and it started picking the garbage up off the bottom. So I'm going to put, I've got, I think, 2 gallons in this can. I'm going to put those 2 in. I'm going to get 5 more, put that in, and we'll see, does it come up? And it might, and that may be enough for it to start picking up fuel and actually pumping enough to fill up that filter. We don't know yet, but that could be a pretty easy thing that definitely could be wrong with it. So let's see what happens. So I was getting ready to put the fuel in this thing, and I thought I'd show y'all my fuel can. People complain all the time about the government-regulated fuel cans, and they suck. You can't pour fuel out of them for nothing. But this is an Eagle branded, they call it a safety can. You can buy them around here at like the larger mowing facilities that sell mowing equipment. And yeah, you just pull this handle and they open up and you just pour them right out. It's great. Well worth the money. They ain't cheap, but you just pour your fuel out, no big deal. So also this can, you can put a hose on the end of the funnel to help you pour it in places like this. There we go. Alright, so yesterday got us some 3/8 line, got that new fuel pump, but it's got 8 gallons or so of gas in it now, at least. I thought we should change this fuel hose up here first with the new hose, and then fill the bowls back up, see if we can start it, and see how that fuel pump does when it's not leaking. Also with more gas in it. So I got to thinking maybe it's not pulling enough fuel to fill that filter up at all. So that's what we're going to do. Just change the hoses and fill the bowls and try it again. And if it's not working, we'll put the pump on it. There we go. Here. Look how cracked and brittle that was. That's why it was leaking. It's split down the side right there. Hard to tell, but yeah, that's where it was leaking from. You can tell really well now. Just equal that out, because I liked where it sat just fine, so get kind of close and we'll cut her in half. All right, so we can get her back on. I wanted to show you all this. Whoever cut the fuel line actually flared it right there. That does not look like a factory flare. So the hose clamp would fit better and not be as likely to slide off. It's a good idea if you're going to cut a line and put a hose on it. It's a really good way to help it from sliding off and leaking. Let's hit it with some live wire. That'll do. I forgot to hook up the battery cables. I bet it starts a lot better with them. Let's try that again. Holy moly. Fired right back up. Well, there's a little bit of fuel in that filter. Let it sit here and idle a minute. See, it never got above the actual fill line there. It's definitely not going to make it into the exit. See how much further up that is. So it's still running off of what was in the bowls. And I could feel the motor starting to shake. It was definitely starting to get to where it was almost out of what was in the bowls. So we'll get the fuel pump pulled off of it and the new one put on and prime it up again so we can get it to fire up. And hopefully that may be the end of that. So if so, we'll see if we can get this thing down the road, test drive it, bring her back, and maybe even clean her up. This is going to be tough for you to watch while I'm doing it, but I thought I'd show you what's up. First thing I'm going to do is clamp off this fuel line. It's not in the best of shape. Probably should be replaced, but let's see. Let's see if we can just pinch it off so it don't just flow down on us the whole time. That should do. Get us a line wrench in here and break this free. Oh yeah. I'm gonna move y'all so you don't get gas all over the phone. All right. Hopefully I brought the right size for this. We'll see. That bolt's not even tight. All right. Get that surface cleaned up, and we'll get a gasket on this new one and get it in. That gasket actually came off clean, so I just kind of making sure there's nothing left from an old one, but it came off clean with that pump. So we're really in good shape there. All right, I got them laid out here. They look exactly the same, so we should be in good shape. I'm gonna go ahead and Get this one up in there with the gasket, get her tight, get her hooked back up, and we'll see if that fixes our issue. Let's get these lines hooked back up and prime that carb and try it again. All right. Okay, we should be able to go up, top her off in the bowls a little bit, fire it up, see what happens. All right, let's hit her with the old live wire, fill these bowls back up a little bit, and I'm also going to check the antifreeze in it, so if it'll run and pump fuel from the tank, we can let it run a little longer. Oh yeah, she's full to the top with antifreeze even. That should be good. Hook the battery back up. I keep unhooking this battery just out of precaution for myself. Probably go ahead and check his transmission fluid. Oh yeah, we're good. Transmission fluid looks good too. I'm gonna try to ease her up down the driveway a time or two. Roll this window down. The fuel filter is definitely getting fuel in it now, so I think it's filling it up. It'll be fine. I just want to see if it'll make it up down the driveway a couple of times. It's a little bit of hill, so it's a good little first test. We got brakes. There we go, there's reverse. Power steering fluid could use to be filled up. I can't see nothing out of these mirrors. There we go. Still can't see out of the other side, but that's okay. She's at the bottom of the driveway. So she'll make it to the top. Oh yeah, she's stumbling bad. You know, as good as that idled, it did not want to come up that hill. Whew. Brakes are soft. You know, it's probably not been ran in a year. He said over a year, so I'm sure it's covered in rust. trying, but it ain't very good. I feel like I got a spider web on me. Still didn't smoke or anything. Thing's barely got any fuel at all in that filter. It should have a lot more than that. I still think it's a fuel delivery issue. I may blow some compressed air back through into the tank, see if it has some sort of blockage, see if we can free that up. So I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but the Blue Angels are practicing today. There's an air show this morning. But us, we're going to be down here working on this. We're going to blow that line right there. We're going to take it back off the pump and blow it out all the way to the tank and see if that helps our flow. Sorry about the audio, but we got to keep working. So there's the line that goes to the tank. I'm just going to shoot some air through it, see what it does. It definitely had resistance at first. Let that air compressor catch up. We might try it again. Yep, there we go. That's what we were hoping for. All right, so this is going to be a cold start. It's the next day. Let's hit the 3 pumps. Let's see if she'll start. Starts right up. Now let's go out there and see if we're getting any more fuel. That's way better already. Yeah, I believe we're on to something now. That's actually enough for it to feed. I'm going to let it idle a few minutes and we'll take it up down the driveway again. See if we can get this thing up and down the driveway a time or two. Oh. It is harsh going in gear. We still need power steering fluid. Completely died. Still not warmed up yet, so we still may have to give it a minute. I believe that carburetor is going to have to come apart. We'll let her warm up a little more, just to make sure it's not real cold nature. I've let her warm up a little more. Let's see if she'll make it up and down the driveway better, but I have a feeling that carburetor's probably completely stopped up. This thing's crooked. Let me straighten it out. All right, let's back her up and try it again. She's good and warm now. Yeah, she just chug, chug, chug. I don't know if you can tell that on film, but what's doing just chug, 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 chug. Good morning. So I was thinking yesterday after I drove it up and down the driveway like you saw after we blew the line out. I was thinking maybe we'd put some plugs in it, and then I got to looking, and there was some in the floorboard of the truck that have clearly been changed. So I looked, and yeah, sure enough, the plugs that are in it are new. I thought we'd check the distributor cap and rotor button and points. I think it still has points. I don't know. We'll look at it and see what that looks like, see if it's corroded or not. We may put a cap and rotor on it, and if that doesn't cure it, I think I'm going to put a carb on it. A lot of times if you don't have enough spark and it's not a hot enough spark, it'll act like it's not getting fuel because it's not getting spark enough to actually burn all the fuel to make it run. This thing's not smoking at all. It doesn't smell like raw fuel, so it's probably okay, but we'll check that and then we'll go from there. Alright, so let's pop this cap off and see what it looks like. Oh, I have to get a screwdriver. Alright, I got it. She definitely got some corrosion going on. Look at the button. Oh, it's got Patronics or whatever. It doesn't have an actual coil. That's good. Or what is that called? That's a Hall effect sensor, not a point system. I couldn't think of what it was called there for a minute. That's not completely burnt up, but it's definitely used. Let's try to put a cap and button on it, and then we'll go from there. See if that makes any difference. Should be pretty cheap. Hopefully I can find one in town local. Also, I didn't notice this till now. This thing's actually got an aluminum Edelbrock intake on it. Been on there a while though. Alright, so we're back. I ended up buying a Duralast Gold F2100G. I went with the Duralast Gold and not just the Duralast because, like the distributor cap and button that are in here, the cap has aluminum lugs for the distributor to connect to, whatever. And these have brass. For $2 more you can get brass. Brass works a lot better, doesn't corrode nearly as bad. So we're going to throw this in, see if it makes a difference. Super easy to do. Alright, so changing this cap out's nothing. Just pop the clips, pull the cap back, get your rotor on there, just pull it straight off. It's a new rotor, it'll only go on one way. Seat it all the way down. Here again, that's indexed, it can only go one way. So if we pop the cap back on. Now, we're just going to take the plug wires off and put them on exactly how they were on this one, and we should be good to go. Alright, I think I'm going to see if she'll spin back over, just see if we get any more power out of it. And if we don't, we'll get into the carb. And we're just going to put one on it instead of rebuilding this one. That's what they wanted to do. I think that's the best route for what we're doing here. So let's fire it up though, see if we can not have to put the carb on it. Let's see if we can get her to start up with 2 pumps. Man, this thing just fires right up. Let it warm up a minute and we'll see if it'll make it to the bottom of the hill and back. I've let her run a few minutes, but it's not terribly warm, but let's just see if it does any better. It may not. This may have all been for nothing, but what the heck. We'll try and see if we can not have to put a carb on it. Oh yeah, the carb's even coughing now. I'm sure that thing is stopped up. Yeah, she died. That's all right. We didn't do anything it didn't need. So the Blue Angels are back outside practicing today. So I went ahead and pulled this girl in the garage here. We're going to pull this carb off. I bought a new one for them to put on it, and we're just going to go ahead and put that on. We could rebuild this carb, but for the time we have invested in it and whatever, it's just as easy just to go ahead and just throw another one on it. Let's get it tuned out and ready to rock, and I think we'll be good. We may pull the top off this one. We may not. We may do it later at some other time. I'd like to see what's inside of it just for the heck of it, but I know it's going to be nasty. So let's get this off and get the new carb on. So it's another Edelbrock. It's just like this one, so it should be easy breezy and simple. Look at this. What they were using for washers. We'll see if we can't find something better than that. That's definitely not going to spread out the load very well. Look at that. Alright, I think we've pretty much got everything unhooked. So, yep, there we are. We'll take a look at all this here in just a minute, but I think we'll be alright. Kind of got this thing pulled out. I just wanted to make sure everything was going to work. Everything looks the same. I got to transfer the ball over for the accelerator, and then the plug here. And of course, there's a vacuum plug on the front and such. It had this adapter on it. I don't believe that's necessary for the intake. And it's clearly had some issues, so where it's backfired, it's burnt it through and stuff. So I don't think we're going to put that on. Just put on a new gasket. I believe we'll be okay. Let me show you this. You know, it's got red silicone on it, so you know they did it right. I'm going to go ahead and clean that up, but I think it should be fine on that intake without any problems. It doesn't need that adapter for anything. I'm pretty sure it'll clear. We'll double check, and if it doesn't clear, we'll get a clean one. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna need it. All right, so I went ahead and hooked up a ground cable for our choke, plugged off the vacuum port they weren't using before. Got the new vacuum plug in the back, and it even came with a new ball for the accelerator. I set this carburetor on there. It clears. It didn't have any issues. That carburetor is warped. You don't have to torque these things down to the point that they warp. You just snug them down. They'll be fine. All right, so we got our new carb. Gasket's in place. Slide it right down. No big deal. I found 4 appropriate washers. Get the old live wire back out and fill her bowls back up. I don't know how much it takes, but you know, some is better than none in my opinion. I'm probably putting in way too much, but it'll be all right. we go. I'm gonna see if I can get her to start up and go ahead and pull it outside. Alright, so she's warmed up. I'm going to pull her in reverse, back her down the hill, pull her back up, see how she does. Better. Still kind of stumbles a little bit. I wonder what the timing is. Could be off. It's much better. Also, I've not adjusted that carb at all, so I just stuck it on. Literally just stuck it on there. I didn't adjust anything. So let's see if we can do a little adjusting and see what the timing's set at. Do a little adjusting on the carb, see if we can straighten her out. I don't think we're far from being done, so let's check it out. It doesn't look like it's too far off. I got a rivet wrench so I can get it loosened up. Alright. In a minute I'll show you what somebody's marked the lines on this one, but nicer ones have like the green lines and stuff. We're shooting between 6 and 10%, or 6 and 10 degrees, not percent. That says it's dead on, but man, it sounds like she's about to die now. There, tighten back down. I'm gonna shut her off and we'll hook up the vacuum line. But oh yeah, here I was gonna show y'all what I was looking at. This is assuming that this is assuming the harmonic balancer's marked right, but I don't know if you'd be able to see that or not. But there's somebody's marked it. And yeah, I just came in between those. Alright, so I've got the vacuum advance hooked back up, and I'm going to go ahead and we'll see if we can get this adjustment for the idle screw just a little bit better. Nope, it didn't like that none. Start her back up. Alright, let's see how that performs. It sounds a lot better. The motor's leveled out a lot more. It's not shaking as bad. So now that we've got that, we'll see what we can do. Feels better when you pull it in gear. Let's see. She sounds so much better. It was a little bit out of time, but it wasn't really that bad. But we got the carb adjusted, so we'll see. Last time was much better than it was, and we hadn't adjusted it none, so it feels so much better. No, she's still chattering. Worse now than before. I have to wonder if that harmonic balancer is like the one that was on my Camaro. It's got a rubber gasket in it. I have to wonder if that rubber gaskets give way and it's twisted. Somebody's marked kind of where it should be with like some white out. Unfortunately, it really probably needs a harmonic balancer, but let's just go old school. And I told y'all I was a hack, so let's do some hacking. I'm just gonna advance that distributor some, see if we can get it to where it just runs better, because it didn't run as good now as it did before I retarded it, and I had retarded it maybe, and it wasn't a lot, maybe 5 degrees. So let's give her about 5 more back to where it was before we messed with it, and assume that the guy that originally was doing it knew what he was doing. I was just trying to set it, hoping, just trying to figure it all out. But yeah, let's do that. Just see what it does. Give me just a sec. I'll be right back. I'm just going to go and adjust it, and I'll come back. All right, so I adjusted it. Let's see how it starts. Fires right up, but it's always fired up, man. This thing just pops right off. We just got to get her adjusted a little. I put it back about where I originally found it. I'm gonna bet that harmonic balancer is spun and those marks mean nothing. And I'd say somebody else has already figured that out and adjusted it by ear. Still sounds okay. That's a lot better. Still kind of puts me in, what it puts me in the mind of. We'll check this. Like a couple of spark plugs are out of round, where they're like not in the right firing order. Let's look at that. It's got to be close, but checked all the spark plug wires. They're all in the right place. I gave it a little more. I've given it a lot of timing now. Let's see if that helps it. So yeah, we'll just keep messing with it. I also wonder if the vacuum advance isn't working. See, now it's getting harder to start, but if it does better under load, it may mean the vacuum advance isn't working. No big deal. We figure it out. Yeah, it's got too much timing in it now to even pull in gear. I'm gonna bump it back some, but I'm almost at the point where I'm like, yeah, let's just do that. Let's check, see if the vacuum advance is holding any vacuum. There's the vacuum advance. I took the hose off the carburetor, and the only way I know to do it, I just stick this in my mouth and give it the old vacuum test. It's moving, but it is tight. You should be able to move. It should move fairly freely. Yeah, that's fairly tight, but it's not busted. I'm gonna mess with that just a little bit, see if we can get it free up a little. Almost makes me want to put just a dab of oil or something down there. See if we can get it to move smoother. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put a little WD-40 or something on it. Hey, it's actually been a couple of days. We're gonna shoot this thing down with WD-40, but I don't think you could quite tell. When I first was pulling a vacuum on that, it was kind of stuck and it kind of broke free. So we'll get it WD-40'd up, see if we can get the vacuum advance working smoothly in there. Then we'll take this thing up and down the driveway a few more times. The weather's not nearly as nice as it's been, but whatever, we get to work. Well, she's been sitting a couple of days. Let's see if we can get her to fire up. I did turn the timing back just a little bit. Fires right up. Let her warm up a little bit, but I'm impatient, so let's see what it does. Still ain't fixed that power steering yet. It's far enough to know. That might be the best it's done yet, so still a little bit of a hesitation, but I think we might be on to something, people. Take off, it's just a little hesitation. Died. Keep working with it. Let's try it again. I'm about to the point I want to drive it around the neighborhood just to see what happens. It's one of the worst things you can do for a vehicle is just park it and let it sit. They're machines. They're meant to be driven. Heck, let's just try it. Let's go to the end of the cul-de-sac down here and back. I think it'll make it. It always fires back up, right? It'll be fine. I don't think I latched that hood all the way. Let me see if I can get out here and latch that hood. This thing, I think it's going to be all right, folks. Yeah, that's a lot better. Let's try it now that the there we go, back in gear. Let's try it now that the hood's latched. This is a pretty steep hill from the very bottom all the way to the top. So it'll be a good test to see how it does. I could coast all the way down, but getting back up, the entire thing basically is a hill. So we'll see. Thing's got a turning radius of an aircraft carrier. This ain't bad at all. And it's doing 35 miles and 40 miles an hour right there. Coming up the hill, Yeah, I think we've got her worked out now. There's the secondaries kicking in. I'm completely happy with it. Ugh. Turning in radius of an aircraft carrier, that's awful. I'm gonna call the running good. I mean, for a truck that's almost as old as I am, yeah, you can't expect much more than what it's currently doing. Well, I think I'm going to wrap this up right here. I was going to do a little more, but really and truly, the truck's running good now. So I think we should stop working on making it run better, because I don't think we're going to get it more, any better than what it's doing. So next video, we'll clean this thing up and we'll see if we can't shine her up some. She's dirty. She's been sitting, but I think it'll clean up pretty good. Most of the paint's still on it. It does have some rust, but it is what it is. It's a 46-year-old truck. I wouldn't be ashamed to own it. So anyways, we'll clean it up in the next video. The video after that will be when the Camaro comes back. If you're one of my Camaro guys, I ordered a bunch of parts. They're not here. We're going to do some stuff to that car, and we just got to wait on parts. So I thought I'd fill in with this truck. So hope y'all have enjoyed this. Anyways, I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.